Liam Rourke had never considered himself important. He was an engineer, a tinkerer, someone who spent long hours in the dusty mines of Theta 9, a remote colony on the edge of the Andromeda sector. Life was quiet, predictable, and mostly lonely. He liked it that way. The colony was small, with only a few hundred people, mostly miners and technicians like him, scraping resources from collapsing asteroids and trying to make enough credits to survive. Liam's life revolved around machines, circuits, and the occasional shipment of supplies from nearby colonies. Nothing remarkable ever happened, or so he thought. One morning, while inspecting a collapsed section of an asteroid mine, Liam stumbled across something unusual. It was partially buried in the rock, a strange metallic object that shimmered in colors he could not name. He bent closer, brushing the dust away. It pulsed faintly, as though alive. Liam frowned. He had seen alien artifacts before, abandoned tech left from exploration fleets or ancient civilizations, but nothing like this. It felt different, dangerous maybe, but fascinating at the same time. "Hey, Liam, what do you have there?" called out Jara, one of the colony supervisors, her voice echoing against the cavern walls. "Not sure yet," Liam replied, eyes fixed on the object. "It's some kind of device, or maybe it's just decoration." He laughed nervously, but the pulse under his fingers made his heart beat faster. He wasn't the superstitious type, but instinct told him to be careful. Before he could consider leaving it alone, his curiosity got the better of him. Liam touched the surface of the artifact more firmly, and it reacted immediately. A soft glow spread across the room, filling the mine with shifting colors that refracted against the jagged walls. The pulse intensified, spreading outward in waves that vibrated through Liam's chest. It felt alive, almost as if it was studying him. "What did you do?" Jara asked, stepping closer. Her usual calm demeanor was replaced by caution. I don't know," Liam admitted. He pressed another finger to the object, and suddenly a sharp, bright flash filled the room. Liam's ears rang. For a few terrifying seconds he felt weightless, as though the mine itself had disappeared. Then the glow vanished, leaving the dull, dusty interior of the asteroid mine exactly as it had been. Only the artifact remained, still humming faintly. "That was weird," Jara said, backing away. "Maybe we should leave it alone and report it to command." It was as if the pulse had reached out across the stars, touching distant worlds and ancient powers he didn't understand. Shaking his head, he decided to put the artifact in his bag and return to the colony. Over the next few hours, Liam tried to resume normal life. He ate his usual synthetic protein meal, checked equipment in the processing plant, and even tried to talk to his friends about the artifact. But no one could make sense of it. Some called him crazy. Others were curious but nervous. And Liam himself felt a growing unease he could not shake. Something had changed the moment he touched the object, and he didn't know what it was. By nightfall, as Liam stared at the stars from the colony's observation deck, a strange sensation grew in his chest. It was subtle at first, like the pull of a distant current. Then the stars themselves seemed to bend and shimmer. Colors shifted, and Liam blinked, certain he was imagining things. And then, impossibly, a message entered his mind, not words exactly, but a clear understanding that someone somewhere far beyond had noticed him. "You have awakened the harmony key," the message said. It wasn't spoken, but Liam understood perfectly. "You are bound by the ancient law. You must unite with the sovereign of the galaxy." He laughed nervously. "Okay, that's impossible. I must be losing it." He pinched himself. The stars outside didn't fade. The pulse from the artifact hummed faintly in his bag, and the sense of being watched didn't go away. The next morning, alarms blared across Theta 9. Liam was still groggy from sleep when he noticed glowing ships approaching the colony. Massive, elegant, and unlike anything human engineering could produce, they hovered in orbit with perfect fluid motion. A voice boomed across the settlement, translated instantly into Basic, the universal language of the sector. "Liam Rourke," it said, "you are summoned to fulfill your duty. You are to accompany the royal envoy immediately." Why? He had always been a small man in a small world, and now the universe seemed to be crashing down on him. A sleek transport ship touched down gently. Its surface shimmered with colors that shifted like liquid metal. The door opened silently, and a figure appeared, tall, elegant, humanoid, but with subtle differences. Luminous skin, eyes that seemed to contain entire galaxies, and an aura of authority that made Liam's knees weak. "Liam Rourke," the figure said, bowing slightly. "I am the emissary of Queen Elendra. You are to come with us." "You've got the wrong guy. I'm just me." Liam felt as though he were falling into a dream he didn't understand, and the artifact in his bag pulsed stronger than ever, as if celebrating its own success. Inside the ship, Liam was given what could only be described as the most alien accommodations imaginable. Gravity adjusted automatically, surfaces shifted to suit his posture, and the air carried subtle fragrances that relaxed and stimulated him at the same time. He stumbled over every mechanism, pressing buttons by mistake, almost sending a portion of the ship into a chaotic spin. The alien attendants, for lack of a better word, observed him quietly. Liam muttered apologies constantly, embarrassed and terrified. After what felt like hours, they arrived at the throne world of Queen Elendra. Liam's eyes widened. He had seen star charts, simulations, and holographic representations of alien civilizations, but nothing prepared him for the real thing. Cities floated in mid-space, held together by glowing energy fields. Ships moved effortlessly through wormhole gates. Stars themselves seemed closer, their light bending in impossible ways. And at the center of it all stood the palace, a structure that seemed to grow organically, alive, and impossibly immense. He was brought before Queen Elendra herself. She sat on a throne that shimmered like liquid light, her eyes piercing yet calm. Liam could feel the weight of her gaze in his chest. She studied him with curiosity rather than disdain, her presence commanding and terrifying all at once. "So," she said, her voice both melodic and firm, "you are the one who has awakened the key." "That's it." The ships, the fleet, and the palace itself made that impossible. Over the next hours, Liam was given a crash course in court protocol, alien etiquette, and the obligations of a mate to a sovereign. He was clumsy, loud, and irreverent in all the wrong ways. Servants whispered, guards tensed, and advisors muttered among themselves. Every small action of his seemed to produce a ripple of reactions he could not predict. And in the middle of it all, he felt a spark of something he hadn't expected: excitement. It terrified him. He was terrified because he could not imagine being capable of surviving this world, yet some part of him, his stubborn, human part, refused to believe he was helpless. Somehow, someway, he would find a way to navigate this strange, beautiful, terrifying universe. He had to, not just for himself, but perhaps for everyone who depended on the unpredictable consequences of a simple human touch. As night fell over the palace, Liam stood on a balcony, staring at the swirling lights of the galaxy. Stars bent and shimmered around him, and the artifact hummed faintly in his bag. Somewhere far away, he had awakened forces older than time itself. Somewhere, the Queen of the Galaxy was considering how this human could possibly fit into her ordered life. And somewhere, Liam realized that life, as he had known it, was over. He laughed quietly to himself. "Great," he muttered. "I touch a shiny thing in a mine, and now I'm marrying a queen. Yep. Totally normal." The room he had been given was unlike anything he had seen before. It seemed alive, constantly adjusting to his presence. The bed floated slightly above the floor, the air smelled faintly of something sweet and energizing, and panels on the walls glowed with soft, shifting patterns. He reached for the artifact in his bag, feeling the pulse through the fabric, as if it were trying to guide him. He didn't understand it, but instinct told him to keep it close. A voice spoke from a nearby panel. "Liam Rourke, breakfast has been prepared. Shall I bring it to your quarters, or do you wish to join the dining hall?" "Yeah, I guess." He had no idea what to expect, but the thought of facing whatever the palace staff considered breakfast alone made him nervous. The dining hall was enormous, a vast chamber suspended over an expanse of empty space. Gravity fields kept the floor stable, but occasional floating platforms drifted like islands in a river. Liam's jaw dropped. He had read about zero-gravity gardens and floating city concepts in textbooks, but seeing them in real life, actually in front of him, was overwhelming. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved around the hall, some humanoid, others utterly alien. There were beings with translucent skin through which faint veins of glowing energy pulsed, and others whose forms seemed to shift continuously, as if they were half-liquid. Despite the strangeness, Liam noticed one thing immediately. No one was openly hostile. They observed him, whispered among themselves, but no one made a move to harm him. Still, his nerves were on edge. A figure approached, a tall, elegant humanoid whose skin shimmered faintly gold. "Greetings, Liam Rourke," the being said. "I am Valeth, your liaison. I will guide you through court protocol and introduce you to the Queen. Many have found the transition difficult. You will adapt, you must." Liam's human instincts for orientation struggled to keep up, and he nearly tripped several times. You will meet Queen Elendra shortly, Valith explained. The court is already aware of your arrival. Some are curious, some skeptical, and a few resentful. You must understand that your presence challenges centuries of tradition. I'm not trying to challenge anything. I just touched something in a mine. Beings from hundreds of species observed him silently. Some had more than 2 arms, others had multiple eyes, and some had shapes Liam could not even describe. They whispered among themselves, casting glances that were curious, skeptical, or disapproving. Liam felt like an insect on display. "Do not be intimidated," Valith whispered. "Remember, unpredictability can be your advantage." Her eyes, vast and deep, seemed to see every detail at once. Even without speaking, she made him feel both insignificant and incredibly important. "Liam Rourke," she said finally, her voice echoing with calm authority. "You are here because of a choice made without knowledge, and yet the consequences have reached us all. Do you understand the gravity of this?" "I didn't mean to do anything. I just touched the artifact, that's all. I'm not used to, ruling or, he trailed off, overwhelmed by her presence and the court. Elendra tilted her head slightly, a small smile playing at her lips. "Your honesty is noted. Few would admit to ignorance in such circumstances. You are human." It wasn't an insult or a compliment, it was a recognition. He had no idea what it truly meant here, but somehow it made him feel slightly stronger. The queen gestured and the courtiers bowed in unison. Liam, unsure of the proper etiquette, bowed awkwardly, nearly toppling forward. A few dignitaries suppressed chuckles while others looked scandalized. He straightened, cheeks burning. "Do not worry about formality," Elendra said, her voice gentle now. "We will guide you. You will learn, but understand this. You are no longer merely a human on a small mining colony. You are part of a galaxy-wide law that predates even your species." Elendra extended a hand, and Liam felt a strange pull, as if the universe itself was being shown to him. "You have awakened the Harmony Key," she said. "It is a force meant to unify civilizations. Its activation is rare. Rarer still is its interaction with a human. You, Liam, are unique. Your species possesses qualities that others do not. Creativity, unpredictability, resilience, and an adaptability that may decide the future of entire star systems." "I didn't know it would do any of this." He was just an engineer from a small rock at the edge of the sector, now at the center of a galaxy-wide phenomenon. After the initial introductions, Valith escorted him to a smaller chamber where he could learn more about the Queen's court. There, holographic displays detailed the political structure, interstellar laws, and the factions that ruled different star systems. Liam tried to absorb the information, but most of it felt like science fiction written by someone with a vivid imagination. "You will need to understand this quickly," Valith said. "Some factions resent the key's activation. They see a human as an anomaly, a disruption. Others view you as a potential solution to conflicts that have lasted millennia. Your survival depends on both understanding and navigating these dynamics." Meals were presented in forms that defied his understanding. Floating spheres of nutrient gel, liquids that shimmered with color, and textures that changed mid-bite. Gravity fields shifted as he moved, making walking feel like an obstacle course. He accidentally offended several dignitaries by sitting incorrectly, leaning too far, or using the wrong hand to accept a floating drink. But he also began to notice something remarkable. His mistakes, though clumsy, often revealed solutions or flaws in the alien systems. A misstep in a gravity corridor highlighted a flaw in energy distribution. A misunderstanding of court etiquette revealed a hidden protocol that had caused friction between 2 factions for decades. The humans' unpredictable approach, simple as it was, began to earn small but significant attention. Queen Elendra observed quietly. She seemed amused, intrigued, and cautious all at once. When Liam thought he had ruined yet another interaction, she would step in subtly, guiding him without anyone noticing. Gradually, he realized that his human instincts, curiosity, stubbornness, empathy, and humor, were his greatest strengths in a world dominated by rigid, logical, or hierarchical thinking. One evening, after nearly collapsing from exhaustion, Liam wandered onto a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. Plants floated in midair, streams of glowing liquid traced patterns across the ground, and stars twinkled close enough to feel like neighbors. He leaned against the railing, staring at the vastness of the galaxy. Valith appeared silently beside him. "You are adapting, Liam," they said softly. "Even in moments of fear and confusion, you find solutions. This is rare, even among our most experienced leaders." That is precisely what makes you essential. He did not yet understand all the consequences, but he realized one thing. He could not run. Not now, not ever. And for the first time, Liam imagined himself not as a small engineer on a tiny rock, but as someone who could shape events on a scale he had never dreamed possible. The stars seemed to whisper possibilities, and he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, he had a uniquely human chance to face them. He didn't know how, or if he would survive, or even if he was ready, but he was human. And for reasons he did not yet fully understand, being human in a galaxy of impossibly advanced civilizations might just be the most powerful thing he had going for him. Liam had spent a week adjusting to life in the Queen's palace, and though he was far from mastering the rules of court, he had begun to understand one thing clearly. Nothing in this galaxy behaved like it should. Gravity shifted unpredictably, languages overlapped with strange musical tones, and every species had customs that were impossible to memorize. He was clumsy, loud, and entirely human, and somehow that made him both a problem and a curiosity. The day began like any other, with holographic projections filling the council chambers. Elendra had summoned him personally, and Liam had to remind himself to stand straight, bow at the correct angle, and avoid stepping on the faintly glowing pathways that indicated where he should not tread. "Liam," Elendra said, her voice calm but firm, "there is a situation that requires your unique perspective. A fleet of autonomous warships from the Serath system is destabilizing several star clusters. Their actions risk annihilating entire civilizations. Our traditional methods have failed to predict or stop them. We require a solution that is unconventional." Star systems. Panic rose in his chest, but beneath it, a spark of determination appeared. Humans, he reminded himself, were nothing if not persistent. Valeth led him to a tactical chamber filled with holographic maps, glowing star systems, and streams of data flowing like rivers of light. Alien advisors argued incessantly over strategies, each more complicated than the last. Liam stared, overwhelmed. "Stop," he said suddenly, his voice louder than intended. The room went silent. All eyes turned to him. "Look, I don't know your codes or your history or your fancy fleets, but I do know this. You're overcomplicating it. You're trying to predict every move in advance, but you're forgetting that sometimes a simple action can force the impossible." Elendra's expression remained unreadable. Liam took a deep breath. "Okay, here's what I'm thinking. These warships, they're autonomous, right? That means they follow instructions exactly, no improvisation. So if we change the input in a way they don't expect, we can force them to stop or at least pause. Their navigation relies on a standard algorithm that predicts star movement and energy signatures. If we, I don't know, feed them false readings, something completely random that no one would think to use, they'll have to adjust. They'll hesitate. That hesitation gives us time to act. No species could think of such a solution without extensive computation, and humans are. He improvised, tested patterns, and suggested ways to introduce randomness into the fleet's calculations. He worked with alien engineers, explaining things in basic terms while they argued about whether it would even be feasible. He wasn't confident, not at first, but slowly he noticed small changes in the projections. The autonomous ships were hesitating. They paused. They failed to anticipate the simplest maneuvers. "Human thinking, remarkable," Valeth muttered quietly. Liam grinned. "I just think like me, no magic, no centuries of tradition, just what makes sense in the moment." Ships collided unintentionally, some withdrew, and entire star systems that had been under threat were saved from destruction. Elendra observed silently, a small smile appearing on her face. The Queen, who had seen centuries of technological prowess, had just witnessed something she had not expected. A human had outwitted machines that no alien civilization had managed to control. After the immediate crisis passed, celebrations erupted throughout the palace. Aliens congratulated him with gestures he barely understood, some even bowing or touching their heads in respect. Liam felt a surge of pride, but also exhaustion. He had never imagined that simply being human could be a weapon, a solution, a life-saving advantage. Yet even as the initial relief spread, Liam realized this victory came with consequences. His presence, his success had drawn attention, both positive and negative. Some factions admired him, seeing humanity as a potential ally capable of balancing power in the galaxy. Others whispered in anger, resenting that a single human with no history, no rank, no authority could influence events that had shaped civilizations for millennia. Over the next few days, Liam was introduced to the political web of the galaxy. Some leaders were openly hostile, questioning the Queen's choice to involve him. Others were cautious, intrigued, and a few tried to manipulate him, assuming he was naive or easily influenced. Liam struggled to navigate these interactions, often relying on simple honesty, a trait that seemed to surprise and unsettle aliens alike. He learned quickly that humans had an advantage he had not appreciated before: emotional intuition. While aliens calculated motives like equations, Liam could read subtle gestures, inconsistencies in tone, and slight changes in behavior. He used this to uncover plots before they fully developed, prevent conflicts, and even broker minor agreements between warring factions. His mistakes sometimes caused temporary chaos, but the unexpected outcomes often favored peace. Queen Elendra watched him carefully throughout. She seemed amused and intrigued, sometimes guiding him subtly without interfering openly. Liam noticed that her respect grew with each success, but also that the weight of expectation pressed harder. The Harmony Key had not simply bound him to her. It had placed him in a position where his humanity could tip the balance of power across entire star systems. One night, exhausted, Liam found himself wandering the palace gardens. Bioluminescent plants floated midair, streams of glowing liquid traced graceful patterns along the ground, and stars shimmered so closely it felt as if he could reach out and touch them. Valith appeared silently beside him. "You are extraordinary," Valith said quietly. "Not because you are a human, but because you are human in this context. Logic would have failed. Predictability would have failed. Only your perspective worked." He had touched a simple artifact in a dusty asteroid, and somehow that had made him central to the survival of civilizations he could barely comprehend. Fear still lingered, but he also felt a flicker of pride. Humans were not the most advanced species, not the most powerful, but they were unpredictable, adaptable, and sometimes brilliant. The next morning, the Queen summoned him. She did not scold or lecture. Instead, she simply observed him with those deep, galaxy-like eyes. "You have succeeded where our most sophisticated fleets failed," she said. "You have demonstrated a quality we have long sought but rarely found in any species. You are human, and that is now a strength we cannot ignore. Know this: your role is no longer temporary. You are part of the galaxy's balance, whether you wish it or not." The galaxy watches. That night, as Liam stared at the stars once more, he realized the truth of his new reality. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and complex beyond imagination. But he had something the aliens did not: humanity itself. Adaptable, unpredictable, resilient. He had stumbled into a role he never wanted, but perhaps it was exactly the role he was meant to play. And for the first time, Liam felt the exhilarating, terrifying, and unshakable certainty that being human might be the galaxy's greatest weapon. Life in the palace had settled into a strange rhythm for Liam, though nothing about it was predictable. Days were filled with lessons in alien customs, tactical briefings, and interactions with beings so different from anything he had ever known that his head often spun. Nights were spent staring at stars so close it felt as if he could reach out and touch them. But beneath the wonder and awe, tension simmered. The Council of Alien Advisors was not entirely pleased with him. Some admired his success against the Serath fleet, but others resented a human's influence on galactic affairs. It began subtly. A whisper here, a suspicious glance there. Liam had learned to sense it, a prickling unease that crawled across his skin whenever he entered a room. He could not yet fully understand alien politics, but he understood human behavior, and he could sense deception, malice, or manipulation when it appeared. The first confrontation came unexpectedly. Liam was walking through the palace's zero-gravity garden, where glowing plants floated in midair and streams of colored liquid traced patterns across the floor. A group of dignitaries had gathered, and their conversation stopped abruptly when he approached. "Ah, human," one of them said, an insectoid being with multiple limbs and eyes like polished amber. "We should discuss the recent irregularities. It seems you have interfered with matters far beyond your comprehension. A human's interference disrupts tradition, destabilizes councils, and invites chaos. You are dangerous." "Okay, well, if being dangerous means saving star systems, then I guess I'll take it. Humans survive in worse places than alien courts." Others argued in his favor, insisting that his actions had prevented disaster and that humans might be the missing link the galaxy needed. Through it all, Liam relied on simple honesty, humor, and observation. Alien advisors often assumed humans could be bribed, coerced, or tricked. Liam did none of these. Instead, he listened carefully, asked questions, and made blunt observations. These simple human actions, surprisingly, revealed lies, exposed plots, and diffused tensions. One afternoon, as Liam practiced zero-gravity maneuvering in the training chamber, Valeth approached with a serious expression. "There is a plot you must know about," they said. "A faction within the council intends to challenge the Queen's decision to involve you directly. They plan to discredit you publicly, possibly endangering your life." During a ceremonial meeting in the Grand Council Hall, one of the council members, a sleek serpentine creature with a voice that hissed like steam escaping, stepped forward. "Queen Elendra," the being said, its voice smooth but venomous. "We must question the legitimacy of this human. His interference with the Serath fleet, while effective, was reckless. He acted without understanding the broader consequences. Can we truly trust someone so unpredictable with decisions that affect millions?" "Liam, you may respond. That's all I can promise, honesty and my best effort." That alone commands attention. He realized that surviving this court required more than intelligence. It required courage, observation, and the ability to improvise under pressure. That evening, Elendra summoned him privately to her chambers. The room was calm, serene, filled with soft light and gentle hums of alien energy. Liam entered, nervous, unsure of what to expect. "You handled yourself well today," Elendra said. "Even when challenged, you did not falter. You have begun to understand what it means to navigate alien politics while remaining human. Others may see it as recklessness, but I see the results. The galaxy benefits from your perspective. I just hope I don't mess it up." It was about proving that humanity could contribute in ways the galaxy had not anticipated. His awkwardness, honesty, and unpredictability were not flaws. They were strengths. Over the following weeks, Liam continued to navigate the treacherous waters of court life. He exposed subtle plots by observing small details that others overlooked. A misplacement of a ceremonial symbol revealed a planned insult. An incorrectly positioned holographic map exposed an attempt to mislead the council. Each time, he relied on what humans did best: observation, intuition, and a willingness to act when others hesitated. During this period, Liam and Elendra spent more time together. She was curious about humans, fascinated by the ways they adapted to impossible situations. Liam, in turn, began to understand Elendra not just as a ruler, but as a being of immense responsibility and subtle emotion. They shared quiet moments in the palace gardens, discussing everything from the stars to the ways humans solved problems that no alien logic could predict. Humor and awkwardness became a bridge between them, softening the formal distance that the court demanded. One day, as Liam struggled to float gracefully along a series of platforms during a training exercise, Elendra observed him from above, amusement in her gaze. "You are persistent," she said. "I survive," Liam replied, puffing out his chest even as he nearly collided with a floating water channel. "Humans survive in worse conditions than this. Persistence is a human trait." One evening, Liam discovered evidence of a more serious plot: a plan to manipulate alien warships to frame him for an attack on a neutral system. His human instincts told him that hesitation could be fatal. He worked quickly, using what he had learned about alien technology and behavior, and managed to prevent the sabotage before it could be executed. When he reported it to Elendra, she nodded approvingly. "You see, Liam, your humanity is not just a curiosity. It is a shield. It allows you to perceive threats and opportunities that others cannot. That is why the key chose you." Every day brought danger, intrigue, and challenges he had never imagined, yet he also felt alive in a way he never had on Theta 9. Humans were not the strongest, not the most advanced, but in this galaxy of perfection and precision, their unpredictability and resilience made them extraordinary. As night fell, Liam stood once more on the balcony, staring out at the galaxy. The stars seemed to pulse in harmony with the artifact in his bag. He knew that the challenges were far from over, that the court's plots would continue, and that his human nature would constantly be tested. But he also knew one thing: he could survive. He could adapt. He could thrive. And in that realization, he felt a deep, unshakable certainty. Humans, however ordinary they might seem, could change the galaxy. For the first time, Liam felt not fear but purpose. The galaxy had grown quiet, but Liam knew it was only temporary. In the palace, whispers and subtle glances still carried tension. Some factions had tried to undermine him, some had outright plotted against him, but every challenge had taught him something new. The queen had observed, guided, and tested him in ways he still didn't fully understand. And now the time had come. Queen Elendra summoned him to the central chamber, the heart of the palace. The room stretched impossibly, suspended in mid-space with stars bending around it like light through a prism. The council and dignitaries were already gathered. Liam's chest tightened. This was it, the moment when he would learn whether his human ingenuity, courage, and honesty had truly earned their place in the galaxy. "You have navigated challenges that even the oldest civilizations could not predict," Elendra said, her voice calm yet commanding. "Your actions have saved countless star systems, exposed plots that would have destroyed trust, and demonstrated the value of unpredictability. For this, humanity's place in the galaxy has been recognized." But it was more than that, it was trust. Elendra's eyes, deep and vast, held a warmth he had never seen in anyone, human or alien. "The Harmony Key," she continued, "was designed to unite species through choice and understanding. Its activation requires one who can bridge worlds, one who can act without fear, and one who can embody what it means to be human. Liam Rourke, you have fulfilled that purpose. And now, as the law commands, you are to join me, not merely as an ally, but as a partner." I don't even know what to say," he admitted, feeling the weight of every star around him. "I'm just a human from a tiny mining colony. I never meant to, I didn't choose this. I just touched something and—" "You have shown courage when others would have hesitated. You have acted with integrity when others would have exploited opportunity. That is why you stand here today." Humans had survived, thrived, and innovated through unpredictability for millennia. This was simply another challenge, albeit on a scale he could barely comprehend. He stepped forward. If this is what the law requires, then I will do it. I will stand by you, Elendra, not because of duty alone, but because I believe in what we can achieve together." The queen's smile softened, and for the first time Liam saw warmth and genuine admiration in her expression. "Then let it be known," she said, raising her hand. "The human Liam Rourke is recognized as my partner, my equal in purpose, and the bridge between civilizations. Together we will lead, protect, and unite the galaxy." Liam found himself overwhelmed with choices he had never imagined. What to wear, how to speak, and how to move gracefully in a world where gravity itself could shift. He struggled to remember protocols, but Elendra guided him gently, correcting him with subtle gestures and soft words. On the day of the ceremony, the palace glimmered like a constellation brought to life. Thousands of beings from countless civilizations filled the chambers and balconies, watching as humans and aliens gathered in a celebration unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Liam's pulse raced. He felt small, ordinary, yet incredibly important. It was the paradox of humanity in a universe of impossible beauty and advanced technology. Humans were fragile, but they could still shape destinies. The ceremony itself was simple in design, yet profound in meaning. Elendra and Liam stood before the central chamber, hands nearly touching, their gazes locked. Words were exchanged, not legal formalities, but declarations of trust, respect, and commitment. Liam spoke honestly without rehearsed speech, and Elendra listened, her expression calm and attentive. "You have shown me the value of being human in ways I could not have anticipated," she said. "Your courage, ingenuity, and integrity have changed the course of our galaxy. I accept your humanity, your flaws, and your strength as a partner in all that is to come. I will not let fear stop me, and I will trust in what humans can do, no matter how small we may seem." When their hands finally joined, a ripple spread across the galaxy. Stars shimmered more brightly, wormholes stabilized, and distant civilizations recognized the union as a symbol of hope. Liam felt a surge of power and possibility, not because he was strong or advanced, but because he was human, unpredictable, resilient, and willing to act even in the face of fear. The ceremony concluded with celebration. Dignitaries from countless worlds approached to offer congratulations. Some were curious, some cautious, but all acknowledged the truth. Humans had earned respect not through conquest or technology, but through courage, honesty, and ingenuity. Liam moved through the crowds, shaking hands, accepting gestures of honor and smiling awkwardly, fully aware of how extraordinary this moment truly was. In the following days, Liam began his role as Elendra's partner, not in title alone, but in responsibility and action. He worked alongside alien leaders, mediated disputes, and continued to find innovative solutions to problems that others deemed unsolvable. Every decision he made carried weight, yet he approached them with human intuition, honesty, empathy, humor, and the courage to act even when outcomes were uncertain. Elendra and Liam spent hours together, planning, strategizing, and sometimes simply observing the stars. They discussed everything from the politics of distant systems to the simplest pleasures, like floating gardens and the taste of alien foods. Liam discovered that his awkwardness, honesty, and humanity made him relatable, even to beings who had lived for centuries. He learned that leadership was not only about knowledge or power, but about trust, courage, and the willingness to make difficult choices. One evening, as they floated in the palace gardens, Liam turned to Elendra. "I never imagined this," he said softly. "I just touched an artifact in a mine, and now I'm standing here, married to the Queen of the Galaxy. It feels unreal. I don't want to embarrass humans, or you." He navigated the palace and the council with growing skill, uncovered plots before they fully developed, and introduced strategies that balanced alien logic with human unpredictability. He had become not just a partner to Elendra, but a symbol of humanity's potential across the stars. One day, as he repaired a minor technical malfunction in a sector of the palace, Valith approached with a rare smile. "You have exceeded expectations, Liam. Even the most seasoned advisors now acknowledge your contributions. Your humanity has become an asset the galaxy cannot ignore. I guess humans really can do anything if given the chance." He thought of Theta 9, of dusty mines, of the quiet life he had once known. And he realized that life would never be the same, and that was precisely the point. Humans were not the most powerful, not the most advanced, yet they could thrive where others could not, shape outcomes where logic failed, and leave marks on the universe that no civilization could ignore. Liam squeezed Elendra's hand gently. "I still can't believe this is real," he said. "It is," she replied, her gaze softening. "And it will continue to be real as long as you remain true to yourself, human, courageous, unpredictable. Together, we will guide this galaxy to a future it could not have imagined without you." The galaxy stretched before him, vast and infinite, full of wonders, dangers, and possibilities. And for the first time, Liam did not feel small. He was human, and humanity had arrived. And in that moment, Liam knew that the universe itself would never be the same.